let's not waste no time. So I told you I was gonna do this live reaction. I don't know if I'm gonna do a whole live reaction or a whole reaction. It's not live, but a whole reaction to the entire video. But I came across this video in my home feed, and I thought it was very, very interesting watching this video, to be honest. So let's start it off. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Join the Patreon. That's where the real channel at, right? So this video is by a brother named, and I came up on him, Jay Stovell, Christian Singles Seeking Marriage. All right. That's his channel name. So I think this was a very interesting find for me, right? So I'm trying to, blow this up. Let me see if we can blow this up. Okay, whatever. This is what we're going to get.
I want a Christian man, but they just corny. No, not all of them, but y'all need to have more swagger. You know what I'm saying? Because we're like, y'all, they got the word, you got the spirit. We got spirit. We got, yay, good. But it's like, I look at the
how does a Christian man get
I don't
swag?
know, but when you look over at the worldly man and you be like, oh, why do you walk like that and talk like that and smell like? But the Christian men they don't walk like that and talk like that.
Why is all these Christian, all of them so? I mean, it's some women that really that's on their list. Cornball, that's in the list.
That's what they like.
For me, that wasn't on the list. I needed somebody who you didn't know if they were actually saved unless they opened up their mouth. When they walk down the street, like your eyes are yellow, your pants, you got hands, but you love the Lord. That's perfect.
Whoa.
That's perfect.
You made me sound like a straight drug addict. Your eyes is yellow, your
Not
pants.
a drug addict, a drug dealer.
So you...
That's what I wanted. I wanted
what
somebody.
Are you talking about?
I wanted somebody that probably sold drugs once upon a time, but they gave their life to Jesus.
So what does that do for you? Explain to the people.
I'm attracted to. I'm attracted to that.
So what?
Welcome.
All right, before I let him go on, bro, I'm telling you, man, that is, you'd be like, it's so many single women in the church. You know what I'm saying? That is why. You heard what she said? That it ain't, I want somebody. No, you want a fucking drug dealer. You just too embarrassed to go date a drug. You too out of date to date a current drug dealer. That's what you want. And like in the video I did before this, talking about what corny is. Now, corny is in the black community, if you're not a YN. If you're not a YN, you consider corny. Flat out, that's what it is. If you go to work 9 to 5, you're corny. If you if you a gangster with a ski mask and all of that, and I told y'all, women push the culture all the time. If women didn't like guys wearing bonnets, if women didn't like guys wearing purses, if women didn't like them niggas wearing tight ass jeans, guess what? They wouldn't be wearing them. Women push the culture, so they like that. They like hood niggas. That's what they like. And that's why when you start talking about a lot of brothers, why they don't date black women, is because they don't fit the mold. He's a good looking, he's tall, he's this, but he just don't have that. He don't do it for me because he's not a hood nigga. But the problem is when they go get with Brad, before I continue this video, Brad ain't got to be none of that. So why do a lot of our women fetishize us to have to be a hood nigga a certain type of way? That's all I gotta say.
Welcome back to the channel. You see the information on the screen, so I'm all about marriage. I want to get you married. And if you're all about marriage too, and you really want to get married, you need to hit that subscribe button. You need to come out to Thursday Talks where we go even deeper. And you need to kind of organize yourself and kind of focus yourself down a path of trying to get into the spaces where people are talking about how to get married, not just about dating well. Anyway, this particular set of videos was sent to me by a gentleman named Willie. So what's up, Willie? I appreciate you, reaching out. I'm always telling you all, if you want me to look at a video, if you want to be on the channel, if you want to talk to me about anything, hit me up on Instagram You see the information on the screen. So, hey, people do it all the time, and I'm constantly showing you all that I ever put out on YouTube. And what's always sad about these types of things is that it's these types of videos that don't get a lot of love, especially from the people that need it the most. And it's always interesting to me, how that really works. I mean, we as humans, and when I say this, I'm not just beating up on the women, I'm beating up on people in general, and myself included, is that a lot of times the very information that causes us a little bit of pain, that causes us a little bit of concern or worry, is the very information that we avoid. So if you've been following my channel for a while, I've always talked about female sexual nature, all right? And I have videos on it, literally where the whole video, that's all I talk about. I explain it all the way down to a T, to try to make sure that people fully understand it. And the truth is, men's sexual nature works almost the same. Really, both are almost the same. It's just that with women, because of the way that they tend to date and the way that men tend to date, it's easier for us to get out of, our sexual nature, and it's a little bit more difficult for women to get out of their sexual nature. So a woman's sexual nature is almost like the second woman, the woman that was talking about, I kind of want him to kind of be like a drug dealer walking down the street, right? Because she was like, that's what I'm attracted to. See, the bottom line is, when she was younger, as young as, honestly, I kind of hate to go all the way back, but I'm just going to be real with you. It could be even as young as 7 or 8 years old. What she started to see was the men that were around her that got attention, that were seen as the pillars, that were seen as strong, as the one you might want, that were romanticized. And that's the key word, romanticized. Okay, those men, maybe in her neighborhood, might have been drug dealers. Maybe she saw them in movies and television shows, right? And so it can be, like I said, as young as that. And then as time goes on, she sees more and more of these types of men. Again, they continue to be romanticized. So in the back of her mind, that's what she believes, a good man is. By the time she's 13, 14, 15, depending upon the situation, she has her first kiss. She has the first time a guy actually kisses her neck. She starts to feel some kind of sexual energy from a man, right? And see, this continues to go on and on and on, even to the point of her having sex, and even her in her first 1, 2, 3 boyfriends. And see, what this does is it creates this energy that is sitting upon her. She might not see it that way, but that's actually what's happening. Her brain is formulating a concept, okay, of what her ideal man looks and feels like. And it generally goes towards sexual energy. Because at the end of the day, sex is the main thing. I know y'all don't really get that. Some of y'all don't kind of get that. But let's be real. I can be friends with any woman all day, every day. I could be friends with your sister. I could be friends with your mama. Some of y'all got daughters. I could be friends with your daughter if she's over 18. But it's like, as soon as I have sex with her, now me and you got problems. Now you're going to be looking at me different. Why? Because sex changes everything. So sex is powerful. It's extremely powerful. Okay? So now let's rewind back so we can continue. So what's happening is these women, they're getting this sexual energy. And remember, men do the same thing. But see, sex does not begin 1 minute before you take your clothes off. It begins the moment you see the person. It does. You don't believe me? Again, a lot of the women is talking about men being corny. Okay, so what if right now I didn't have this chain on? What if this shirt was buttoned all the way to the top? What if I, like I said, had another shirt on that maybe wasn't as trendy? What if, my beard was all jacked up and my hair, or lack thereof, the little spots of it was coming in and I didn't have it fully shaved? Okay, that is going to change your opinion upon me just by you seeing me. I'm the same person, but because you're seeing me in a different light, now you don't associate any type of relationship, especially for the women that are watching this, with me, right? And see, this works the same way for men. When men first see women, it's the same thing. But based off how she dressed, how she walks, how long her fingernails are, how if she has, the fake eyelashes, does she have a wig, does she have weave, does she have braids, does she have dreads? All these things, okay, create this familiarity toward the sexual energy that we're used to. And I've often talked about women's sexual energy like it's a drug. Okay. And there was one guy that popped up in the comments a while back and he didn't quite understand, what I was saying. But the concept here of a drug is there are some people out here that love to do weed. They love to smoke weed. If you try to get that particular person to drink a beer, they might look at you like you're crazy. They're like, dude, I don't drink beer. I just smoke weed. That's what I like to do. I like to smoke weed. Then you'll have some women out here, the only thing that they drink is red wine. If you try to get them to drink white wine, they're like, no, I ain't doing it. If you try to get them to drink a margarita, they're like, no, I'm not doing it. They only drink red wine. And see, all of these things are actually drugs, okay? Marijuana is a drug. Alcohol is a drug. But there's a specific type of drug that the person is addicted to, if this makes sense. See, there are women out there, I'm just going to be real with you guys for a minute because I know a lot of black people don't talk about this kind of stuff. But there are some black people out there that are they way in left field when it comes to their sexuality. They might be into bondage. They might be into exhibitionism. They might be into all different types of things. I've even talked to women that have come out to the group that even like to kind of control their man in a way. They want to do things like literally sit on a high chair while their man, kind of is low beneath them and just kisses their feet. They get off on that. And see, what happens is each one of those women is looking for a different energy in the men that she basically sees. So a woman who is into sweet romance, okay, so this is more traditional. This is more, okay, just, missionary position type of sex. This woman is probably going to think that the corny guys in church, okay, are very sexy. Because that's really what she wants. She wants to look at the person during intimacy. She doesn't really want all these extras. She just wants to have that connection. That's really what she's looking for. Then you have other women that really want a man to grab them by the hair, okay, and throw them, not literally throw, but push them up against the wall. Those women are trying to find that extra aggressiveness within men. Okay, because that's what they like. And see, when you start to deal with Christianity,
I'm gonna stop him right there. The majority of women that you come across, and I say this in the Patreon, join the Patreon, it's the only link in the description. That's what they prefer. Let me say it again. That the majority of women prefer the lateral. Well, the latter, excuse me. Or the last thing he said, they prefer the aggressive nature. So, and I say this all the time in my videos and on the Patreon, what a lot of these dudes don't really understand is when you don't come with some type of aggressive behavior, or you don't have a aggressive frame, or you're a taller or a bigger guy, they assume that you're soft. Now, at the end of the day, there's ways to get around that. It's guys that are very good socially, smooth talkers. They have a confident type of aura, right? But at the end of the day, a lot of women want you to be aggressive. And what's so funny about it, and I say this all the time on the Patreon, a lot of women don't know what they like. They'll be like, don't do that to me in the bedroom. They may, because they don't like you like that. But a woman that likes you even before y'all get to the bedroom, she will allow you full control. A woman that respects you and likes you, she'll allow you full control. And you start to do things, you know what I'm saying, uh, and she's more acceptance to it. But what my experience is, they all love aggressive nature. They'll lie and say, "Oh, I don't like a guy to beat it up all the time," and I like slow. It's no, they don't. Women like aggressive nature in the bedroom. So that's why they equate your aggressive nature to how you are in the bedroom. And I say this to guys all the time. If you are in the bedroom and you are passive, you're going to lose. You know what I'm saying? You have to just do it and take control. So that's why when you start everything with women is sexual. A lot of things with women are all sexual, bro. I'm telling you that right now. A lot of things with all women are sexual. I'm telling you that. A lot of things with all women are sexual. Your demeanor, how tall you are, how aggressive you are, or how good of a talk. It all goes back to sexual nature. It all goes back. So, when you're in the bedroom, you just do it. You command, you control. Okay, when you planning the day, she wants you to command, control, lead. In the bedroom, she wants you to command, control, lead. It's the same thing. If you asking her, "Oh, could you bend over? Can I hit it from the back?" No. Bend that ass over. You throw her in those positions. You beat, you grab her by her hair if you can. If you can't grab her head, grab her shoulder. You hit it from the back, grab her arm, pin it behind the other arm, and that's how you got to do it. Keep telling y'all that, man. This is things that you have to find. You find out yourself. They love everything. They love aggression. And some of them marry guys that don't have that aggressive nature. They never tell them they need to have that aggressive nature because they don't think it's in them and they don't want to hurt their feelings. And they go without being sexually satisfied. That's why when they say, well, you need to have that conversation with your partner, they don't want to lose their money train, their gravy train. But let's keep going.
Walks right now with a lot of grace. All right? It walks with a lot of grace. Y'all have to stop for a second and understand that point. Grace. And see, the grace of the Christian church allows someone to do something, okay, that basically have sinned beforehand, all right? And then we say, okay, let's wipe it clean. But the problem is, especially when it comes to sex, because remember, the Bible says for people not to have sex until they're married. Sex is powerful. Okay, I just talked about how powerful it was. It literally causes arguments. Like I said, if I slept with your mama, if I slept with your sister, if I slept, with your daughter, if she's over 18, it would bother you, right? Okay, especially if I say, oh, I don't care about her, whatever. That was just a one night stand, you know what I'm saying? That would bother you. I don't care what man you are. If you love them, that would bother you. So, and women have to understand, even if I did it to your sister or mama, that might bother you as well. So we have to understand, okay, that sex is this powerful thing, extremely powerful. So now, okay, when you have a woman that has had sex before, and she has had this romantic notion, because like I said, sex does not start when your clothes come off. It starts in the mind. And sometimes it starts years before a woman even has sex. You can see it in the books that she reads, in the movies that she watches, in the stories that she's the most interested in. So the sex has begun there. Even if she's never had physical sex before, her mind has had sex. Her mind has imagined, okay, a man kissing her, a man doing all types of things to her, right? And so because of that, what happens is now this shape of what she believes this energy is forms. And now she seeks out that energy. She's doing everything she can to find a man that lines up with that energy. Now remember, okay, this could have been 2 years ago. She could have been saved. She could have been abstinent. She could, have decided, hey, I'm not going to have sex. I am going to give my life to God. But the problem is, when it comes to that energy, romantic energy, which is the number one thing she knows there's going to be that connection between her and a man, she still craves it. And that's why the devil spends so much time, for those that aren't Christian, you got to look at society. You can say society or you can say the devil, okay? Because I know not everybody watching me is Christian. But from a devil perspective, a societal perspective, that's why they push so many narratives in our society. Movies, like I said, that young girls are watching, 5 years old, 7 years old. They're watching Disney films. What are the heroines in these Disney films like? How do they act when the prince shows up? All of those things matter. And if you look at a movie, like I say, like a Beauty and the Beast, and then you fast forward to a movie like Pride and Prejudice, which is a little bit more of a adult type of story, it's like I say, it's pretty much the same story. All right, and so you have to understand that. So now, like I say, with all that energy, with all that behind her, that's what she thinks a man is. So now she comes into the Christian church, and then she's really looking for that. She's looking for that, except for now she wants him to be Christian. Now she wants all of that, but then she wants him Christian on top. And back when I first did my first video talking about this subject, what I found was exactly the same thing, that what women were doing is they really want the worldly man that was in the world. I mean, he was doing it up in the world. He was basically a slut in the world. Okay, had plenty of women. But then he came to Jesus. And not just came.
Now he said a lot right then and there. He said that I wanted to stop him, but he was cooking. He said sex starts before sex. They sex before they actually have sex. You know, and, you got to think about it. You see these women when he was going to school in high school, they was reading thug love books. They reading about thug love books. Women was growing up. You seeing their mother watch Color Purple or watch Stella Got Her Groove Back, and they watching what the mother watches. Now you got mothers watching baddies and all that. This is how expectations are created. Their world is crafted by what they're absorbing on television. Now the internet. That's kind of what's shaping their thoughts. It ain't that, okay, I seen a YN or a hood nigga back in the day and I just thought he was everything and that's who I want to be with. No. When you have a man in a house and a father did something, their father was their first love, and he was in the house and he did these things on day to day, guess what? That starts to shape their thoughts of what a man is and what they look for in a man. Yeah, they might go experiment with some guys here and there, experiments with things, but ultimately they know how a guy's supposed to treat them, how a guy's supposed to dress, how you're supposed to carry yourself because they had a father. Now, does that guarantee she won't be a hoe or she gonna find the right guy? No. But one thing it does guarantee, if her father had control and full autonomy over her, it guarantees that she has an understanding in a submissiveness that a lot of other women who don't have. Now you have some women who have that submissiveness out of being dinky. They just are naive. And they just gonna believe whatever a dude tell them, and they gonna get taken advantage of and they get hurt. You got some women who never been under the leadership. You see these mothers allow them to go to the school and not. Somebody was loud as hell. And don't allow them to listen to the teachers. No authority figure can say nothing to their kids. And guess what? You get out in the real world, the sons end up, in a lot of trouble, and the young women end up, going from guy to guy. I don't think they have to respect an authority figure. A man in your life is an authority figure. Your husband is an authority figure. He protects you. He provides for you. When you go buy something, he protects you. He protects you. Shh. He protects you. Your husband protects you. They trying to get you when you're going to buy a new bracelet or whatever, and they trying to finesse you on a bracelet. Your husband like, no, that ain't how it's about to go. You want $1,500 for you? We got $800. This ain't this, that, and the third. Okay, sir, we can do $900. That's what a man is there. It's more than just protecting you physically. It's more than just protecting you emotionally. It's protecting you in a number of different ways. He's the bulletproof vest of your life. So this is how they kind of have this attraction, is what they absorb. And this is why you got to watch the women who you deal with, because the women that you deal with, if they watching baddies or, they reading thug love books, that's going to go down to that girl, bro. I'm telling you. And that's going to stay per expectations of what a dude is. So let him continue to cook.
Came to Jesus, he threw himself at Jesus' feet. He is reading all the word. He knows the word. He can almost be a preacher himself. And now he has changed. And he doesn't want to cheat. He don't want to do this. He just wants to be the best man. And he has no collateral damage. So he walked away with no diseases. He walked away with no children. He didn't walk away with too much emotional baggage. But what we know, just this, this is slightly off topic, but what we know is that it doesn't work that way. No one walks away with nothing. We always walk away with something, okay? Because that's why God is trying to get us not to do these things in the first place, because he knows we ain't going to walk away scot-free. Even if we don't have a disease, even if we don't have any kids, there's still something there that is terrorizing us in the back of our mind from a subconscious place. And God understands that, but we as humans, we think that we can control it. All right. So that is why this happens. Okay.
Now, he said something very interesting too that might have went over your heads. For the reality, what he's saying, this is why they like guys in prison. This is why they like guys in prison. He's giving you guys so many jewels in here. This is why they like guys in prison. Reform guys who get out of prison, who do a long bid. They was a hood nigga. They was a thief. They was a robber. They sold drugs. I mean, even some of these guys been accused of being pedos that these women allow them in their house because they have this thug-like gangster type, aura about them that they're attracted to. They may not necessarily be fully attracted to that guy. He come out, he become a truck driver, or he start working at a plant and making some money, and they love his funky ass draws. They have this dangerous dude around their kids. They had this dangerous dude around their family members. It's because that's what they like. It's a reflection of how they grew up, and it's a reflection of their character. Why, as productive men, would you want to fight for those type of women? They're not productive women. They ain't gonna do nothing but destroy you. Just because it look good don't mean it's good for you. That's what he tells me. That's why they go for prison guys. They come out, they get a religion in prison, and the Nation of Islam, or they become hardcore Christians. They start reading books. They start informing. They reform. They don't want to go back. That's what they want. They got reform YN, reform Pookie. And a large percentage of women in the black community all want it. They'll be faithful to a dude behind the bars and justified. And then women get mad when these guys don't. Be like, okay, this is what y'all prefer. I'm gonna go overseas. I'm gonna get a white woman. Then it's a shame. They shame these brothers with self-hate. But I don't fit the bill. I don't fit the bill. Most athletes, if they didn't have the status of athletic, or they were tall, most of them women, that's why when they divorce athletes after they retire, they don't like them. They Xavier Worthy, that girl that she was cheating on Xavier Worthy from the Chief from, I guarantee he was a bum ass nigga. Have y'all been to college? Y'all want to know why black women don't get married in college? I went to HBCU. A lot of the women were giving themselves in college to hood niggas, to local niggas, getting slutted out by local niggas, getting slutted out by niggas that was just there just to have a good time. They was picking the worst of the worst. This is their preference, bro. And we cannot be mad at their preference because their preference developed over how they grew up. This is what he's breaking down to you. This is why the prison guys are their preferred choice. They're reformed. They don't want to go back. They're Christians. They on the right track. They used to do this. They have this type of swagger. It ain't about clothes or dress or just how they walk. This is what they want. They want danger. And if they knew what a lot of them dudes in prison, they was getting butt broken, they was getting beat up, they knew that, they would lose instant attraction. I'm telling you that.
Okay, so how do we fix it? Because y'all know me, I'm all about fixes. I'm all about helping. I'm all about just telling you straight up. So the very first,
you can't fix it. He's going to tell you what the men need to do. You can't fix it. You can't fix it. You can't save them. You can't save people like that. You cannot fix that. Women, you cannot fix that. That is your cope. That is your trauma. You should stay away from productive black men. You should stay away from productive men, because what he's not going to say is that they will throw themselves and date a white man that's corny, that's everything you are, but the white version, and they'd be perfectly fine with it. And be faithful to them. You cannot fix these women like this. No matter how young, how old, you cannot fix it. It is not your fault. You don't have to dress a certain type of way because it's some white woman or some other black woman that didn't grow up like that accept you for how you are. Move on. You can't fix it.
First thing I'm going to say is that there are really good men. And I think both sets of women kind of said that. They did think that a good portion of the men in church actually did walk with that swag, did walk with that energy. All right. So I just did want to say that. The next part about it is, again, women have to learn to talk to men. I wish I could say that over and over again. I wish I literally could get in front of every single woman in the world and tell them that. Because again, a lot of women make judgment calls, based off, like I said before, based on what they think the person is going to do. One of the things that's really interesting is, like I told you guys, I have a spiritual mom, and me and my spiritual mom, we talk a lot. So she's kind of like a mom to me, especially because my own literal natural mother passed away about 10 years ago. So she's kind of, stepped into that role. And so she's getting to know me, because me and her have only really known each other for a couple of years. So she's still getting to know me. And even she thought, when she first met me, that I was extremely conservative. And it's kind of funny because when I'm in environments, I do have a lot of self-control. And because I don't drink and I don't smoke and I don't really do any type of, drug, I think she was, again, like a lot of other people, leaning into the fact that she thought, oh, okay, this guy's really conservative. He's been in the church all his life, blah, blah, blah. But nothing could be further from the truth. Just because I don't smoke and drink doesn't mean that I don't have other things about me that really go, like I said, really to the far, left or to the right. I can't divulge all these things, on YouTube without it seeming a little weird or odd or making some people feel uncomfortable. But the bottom line is, my ex-wife could tell you stories. And, even some of the women that I've dated could tell you stories. And the only thing that I am going to say is, like, even when it comes to some of my friends, and I have a lot of friends, I've actually given them advice about certain things that they can do from a romantic sexual place. And I've even thought about writing a book about it because I find that a lot of guys, aren't really thinking creatively about, some of the things that they can do. Yet when women see me and they meet me, they don't think that. Because I don't brag on myself. Because I actually think people that brag generally don't have the skills to do whatever they, have to do. In fact, the Bible talks about it. Okay, and so for me, I've always just been the type of person that I kind of chill, I watch, and then when I get a moment to interject information, no matter what that information is, that's what happens. And I've even, like I said, been in situations where I'll be on a group outing, and I've tested it, before, where I'm sitting around, I'm just chilling, it might be 30, 40 people at this particular event, or maybe even more, and then women ain't feeling me. They see me, they don't see nothing about me, so they're not feeling me. But then, something happens where somebody might ask me a question or, something like that. And then, I start to kind of go into the same mode that I am in right now. And then before, the night is over, I've got 2 or 3 women, trying to talk to me, or at least trying to position themselves to talk to me, because boom shakalaka, they're like, oh crap, I didn't know that was in him. And that's why I always tell women that women's, little meter, their little ability to pick men, their picker, generally doesn't work. And when I look at the fact that about 50% of women are still saying, and I've done videos on this, 50% of women are still saying, my husband was not my type. You have about 50% of women that say that. That shows, again, that you don't know how to pick men. And most men, most Christian men, have a past. Okay, they weren't always the guy that's in front of you. And even once you remove Christianity outside of that, I mean, take that fully off, again, a lot of women don't give every man a chance. Now, I did want to say this really quick. There's a huge difference between a man that has no strength in him, that has no courage in him, that has this weakness, this insecurity, fear thing. And I actually did a video on that a long time ago because there was this Christian guy who sounds like what these Christian women are talking about, and he was complaining about how it's hard as a Christian man to date. And to me, when I looked at him, I did not see masculinity in him. I did not see strength in him. And the way I always see it, and I look at it, I'm just being real, is like when I'm around a man, it's like, do I want to hang out with him? Do I feel like he would have my back? Do I feel like if we went into a fight, okay, is he going to run away or is he going to knock the person out before I get to a chance to do it? What kind of energy does he have? If we're going to do a business deal together, is he going to be, the type of guy that I can lean on? So even for me, I can feel weakness in men, right? And sometimes I can see a little bit of it, but I generally still want to talk to them because, again, they could just be having a bad day. And so with this whole concept, Christian men being corny, I need a Christian thug, all this other kind of stuff. Here's the whole thing for the ladies.
Before he finished it off, so he said a mouthful there. Can't fix it. But he's right. It's a certain, when I'm talking to women, it's a lot of dudes got undealt with trauma. A lot of dudes don't know how to socialize. And it's even worse for younger women today because, a lot of these guys just spend most of their time on the internet. So they got virtual friends. They don't know what real friends are like. So when you don't practice being social, especially when and they did remote college and they did remote for high school, you miss those critical years. Some school for not being able to socialize and talk to people, that hurts your development. A lot of these college kids not even going into school classes no more. They doing everything online. It's going to hurt when you don't have the gift of gab, and especially when kids don't go outside no more. That's how you learn to socialize. Going outside, going to the course. Hey, y'all trying to run one? This, that. A lot of guys don't know how to socialize. So he's talking about that guy had a certain weakness. Anytime you complain, when you first meeting a woman and you complaining about stuff, or you complaining about unless it's something about like the government, I wouldn't bring that up early on, or maybe the service. Like, yeah, when I be going there, they be trash there. That's different. But when you complaining about these women out here, or these niggas weak and these niggas did you have to give your complaints, and like when y'all start being serious, you have to give your complaints to your woman or what you going through in increments. Like you might be dealing, I gotta work this whole ass nigga today, but it ain't shit. I'm gonna get through it. You gotta give them enough. You can't just go without complaining. What's wrong, babe? You give them a little bit, but yeah, these women out here are terrible. I don't think you gotta look at yourself. I say that all the time. Self-reflect. Can I get in shape? Can I stand to go to the gym? Can I stand to, read? Can I stand to probably get a coach that can help me be more social or take a public speaking class? Can I be more confident? Can I fix my posture? Can I get a stylist? Can I find my own style? Do I, should I improve my hairstyle? Should I get my hair lined up? Should I get cleaned up? Should I start using beard products? Should I invest in cologne? Should I invest in hygiene? Should I invest in my skin care? Should I eat better? Women are not going to just take you how you are. Even with money, they'll take you how you are with money, but they're not going to be attracted to you. Do people understand what instant attraction is? It's when you walking somewhere. Matter of fact, I was at Walmart. Funny, I'll tell you two funny stories, right? I'm going to let them finish. And I'm going to say these now because I'm probably not going to finish. I'm going to let them finish. I'm going to let them go a little bit longer. Two funny stories. So last night, I was at a room at the casino or whatever, right? So we ended up only having one room key. Long story short. So me and my girl, we both cut out. And she was like, yeah, when you come back, I'm going to a party. When I come back, just come down and get me. So I got to make sure I don't fall asleep, so I can come down here. So, I'm down there watching the fight for a minute in my room. So I go down and walk around the casino because she was like, well, I'll be there. So real story. So I'm walking. Like, if you ever been to Motor City Casino in Detroit, you know how you walking from the casino, like the main casino entrance, and you walking down the ramp to go to the hotel part? So I'm walking. This girl looked me dead in my eye, like her head snatched around. It's just my peripheral. So I'm chilling. So I'm waiting on my girl to walk through the hotel door, and she kind of stops, and she like about to holler at me, and I'm kind of like, don't do that. So she stops. She's about to holler at my girl walking. So I walk in, kiss her, whatever, and I'm like, thank God, right? But you can tell the instant attraction. I'm just chilling. I got on what I got on right now. I'm walking through, her head snatch around. Some women can't help it. I'm at Walmart today, right? I'm walking out of Walmart, walking out of that joint, and I'm walking out. So this girl, I don't know if that was her dad or her whoever it was. They had two buggies. So I'm walking out the door, or whatever. Her head like snatch around. So it's just in my peripheral. She got this. I guess they got a church. She head snatch around staring, and I don't know if it was her daddy behind her or whoever. And she just kept staring, like like you know what the attraction, what instant attraction is. Now, like if it's just like I said before, you know what it is. You know, flat out, flat out. But let me let them cook a little bit longer.
Ladies that are watching, I am not going to sit here and try to go over and over again with you guys about all of the really great men out here that you're bypassing. I've talked about it enough, okay? And it's plenty of them. But it's up to you to talk to them. It is up to you to get in environments where you can actually have those conversations. If you're not willing to do that, then again, that's on you. And then for the guys, again, I'm telling you straight up, don't worry about it. But you do have to look at yourself in two ways. Okay, if you're walking in true masculinity and you were able to sort of get women, and when I say sort of here, because we all know that every single woman ain't gonna talk to us. I mean, unless you are just that super romantic ideal, you're not gonna get every single woman. But if you as a man can get 3, 4, 5 dates with what most men would consider is at least a 6, 7, or 8 within a year, then yeah, you're able to get women. So if you're able to do it outside the church, you're gonna be able to do it within the church. But if you're a man that cannot do that, then you have to work on, like I said, your own masculinity. And the ways that I'm always telling men to do this is, number one, you need a set of rules and regulations that you follow. Okay, and when you speak about those rules, and even when you speak about life, speak about it from a place of confidence. Okay, it's just like if I came up to somebody that is a neuroscientist, right? And if I go to a neuroscientist and I'm basically talking to them and I'm saying, man, you don't know nothing about the mind. If he's like, well, I really do, man. I have a PhD and I worked and I did this and I did that and all this school and I've been in my job for 10 years. And I'm gonna be honest with you, you find people just like that. They'll have the experience, but when you ask them to talk about it, they're all down here, man, and blah blah blah. No, you can never ever be like that as a man. As a man, somebody says, hey, you, I don't care, like I say, if you take out the trash, if you're a gardener, you're like, yeah, I garden. Oh yeah, man, I love the grass, man. I hit that grass, I make it just clean, straight off the top. I got certain fertilizer sets, that I put together. See, you have to have that a little bit of that proudness. Not so much pride that you're above God, but you have to be able to speak out in that pride and to have your shoulders arched back and be like, yeah, man, I do that. I pick up garbage. I get them apples, man. Old apple cores. I get the banana peels. Cans. I do it, and I make sure it's done right. Because see, that's the whole point. So if you're a Christian guy, you can't be down like that. Like one of the things that always bothers me about any man, I would rather a man speak loud. And I know some women don't like this, but I'll be honest with you. When it comes to respect, okay, when you are quiet and you've been taught to speak with your inside voice all your life, and I actually, at one time mentored children. I worked in a middle school ministry at my church. And I used to try to get these boys to speak up. I'm like, dude, if the person on the other side of the room cannot hear you, okay, then people are going to lose respect for you, and you're not going to have a great life.
All right, I'll stop it right there. You can listen to the rest. But he's right. He's right. And what he's pretty much saying is social skills. Most men don't have social skills. Most men don't have social skills. Social skills are right after physical attraction. It's right up under physical attraction. Most guys don't have the social skills. They don't know how to talk. They don't even know how to move, articulate. They don't have any wittiness, any comedy about them. They don't know how to spit the pimping. They don't know how to articulate what they do. It's a confidence thing. That's masculinity, being able to, socially and know things. That's why you always have to gain knowledge, read, all that stuff. Yeah, I know. I'm about to be done, homie. You have to read. You have to know stuff. You have to research stuff. That way you could talk about a variety of topics and know what you talk about. But if you put in your head, no. You know what I'm saying? Women like when you talk that good shit to them. They like when you frame them up and you talking to them. And you might take a little joke at, you might take a little jab at them or a little joke at them. They might joke with you like, girl, boy, you ain't ready for all of this. You might be like, what makes you think you ready for all of this? Just they like that. These guys lack social skills. The attraction get you in the door. The social skills take you all the way to the top. So I thought this was a great video for him to kind of, articulate and break this down. Definitely a fan of the channel. Shout out to Jay Stovall, Christian single seeking marriage. And he's spot on a lot of this stuff. I think some of the things that he said that I translated for him, I think translate a lot better to kind of the things that I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? It translates better. Like, you have to be a man. Women, yes, a lot of these guys are feminized and they raise feminized guys in the emotion of God, but they don't want that. You know what I'm saying? They want somebody cool, somebody productive, really. Most good women, and somebody that they gonna have a good time when they go out with. It's not gonna be a drag. Y'all, whatever y'all do, that's why a lot of women that may not be about the money, and they always want to do stuff with you, and it always pertains with spending money. It's, even if they paying sometimes, it's because this gotta be a mouthful. It's because you don't make things fun. Things are a drag. Some people who have that personality, y'all can just watch Netflix. I can watch a show at Netflix, play a little small card game with, and it's fun because they witty, they making jokes, they joking about the characters in the show, or they really watching the show. You like, what you think about that? It's fun. And before you know it, you have a conversation. Y'all watching the show, 10 hours that went by like, damn, it's time to go. So yeah, man. So hopefully y'all enjoyed the video, man. Should go definitely sub to his channel, man. Hit the link in the description on my channel. Join the Patreons for the real channel. Go down there. Hit the subscribe button, bell icon button. Peace.